Welcome part two, and I want to start with this. Train without music. Eat without using a phone. Sit in a room with your thoughts. Magic happens when you give it space to exist. Listen to that. A lot of people train with music. They have to have pre-workout. I have no motivation. But yet I got up this morning, ran 6 miles with ankle weights. I remember on mile 4 or 3, I stopped and I felt tired, but yet I looked at my legs and I simply said, they do not hurt. They do not feel tired, so I can continue. Then I finished the rest. You see, people will give themselves excuses to quit easily. Oh, excuse. I can't do it. Sorry. I mean, that's being honest, but let's say you want to get up early. You can't. Excuses will delay your progress. Whenever I come across an excuse, I don't pay attention to it because my mind will not allow me to. If I allowed it in my mind, I allowed it in my body. It's like eating something that's not good for you. You know it's going to make you sick or you're allergic to it, that's going to make you swell up, but yeah, you eat it anyways. You know you might die from it. Who knows? But that's what excuses are. They kill a human. Imagine how much greatness people would come out of from excuses. I know I was on mine and rant part one, but this is part two, and this is what I'm gonna say. Imagine if people did not live by excuses. How much would people get done? Imagine how much more people will be able to get up and do more things than just sit around. I've been up since 3. I'm extremely tired, but yet I still have a day to go. I still have to go to college. I still have to come home and do stuff around the house. Like, I know I have stuff to do, but I'm not allowing myself to sit back and relax. Sure, I'm recording this, I'm saying, but it's different. But understand, I remember yesterday, I was cleaning the house. We got home from lunch. I cleaned the house for 3 hours. And I sat down. My grandpa came in and said, "Are you ready to take pictures of the house?" My grandma said, "Let him rest a little bit." He just sat down. I got up and just took pictures of the house and sat back down and read a book. That's when people tells me in rest, I hate that word. I hate rest. I hate normal and average, the norm. I hate those words because I do not want to be linked to it. I do not want to be seen a part of it. Oh, let's just be normal. Do you even know what normal looks like? It'd be pretty boring. If everyone's perfect, it'd be pretty boring. That's why we're given challenges. A quote I came up with since I was 6, but I made it official in my high school, and someone actually made an Instagram post off of it. But challenge yourself before challenging others. Challenge yourself before challenging others. 6 words, 6 simple words. You're challenging yourself to become better, to compete against the others. Whenever I train in the dark because I don't want, because I have a feeling that, okay, yeah, my opponents might be sleeping still, but guess what? I'm out here when they're asleep. I'm out here training harder than they are. And guess what? I love that feeling. I love to know that I am driven for a purpose. I'm driven to become a hard worker. Maybe in workforce, I'm not sure career or whatnot, but who knows? This might be popular, and who knows? I might make enough to where I don't have to work and just have to do this. But that'd be a dream, I'll be honest. But anyways, let me read something actually. Like this spoke a lot to me. Now, the person in this is actually I think Russia. But my dad gave me this. It's called Live Like a Jesus Freak. Let me find this one thing. Like it's like I read it to my grandmother. Like she even felt blindness from it. Okay, so I'll only say private major or Ivan because that's the only thing I know. But here we go. Strengthened by angels. Ivan, 18-year-old USSR, 1970. Although he had been there before, Private Ivan knew what awaited him at the major's office. The communists were endlessly calling him to headquarters for talks, trying to re-educate him, to talk him out of his faith in God. And if you're religious, I'm sorry, but this speaks volumes, and I feel like you need to listen to this. Okay? I know I might have created shorts out of this, but I'm fine with that. It was lunchtime. The sun was shining brightly in the blue sky, and the snow was glistening as Ivan walked along the snowy sidewalk. He praised God for this time alone, time to sing and pray. The morning was so bright that at first Ivan didn't notice. Suddenly, it caught his eye. A bright star began to fall from heaven, like a comet. It came closer and became bigger and bigger. He looked up to see an angel above him, bright and powerful. Ivan's heart was filled with joy and fear. The angel did not descend all the way to earth, but hovered about 200 yards above the ground. He walked in the air above Ivan, as though walking along the same road. Then the angel spoke, Ivan, go. Don't be afraid. I'm with you. Ivan couldn't speak, but his joy was like a fire within him. Somehow he made it to the major's office and knocked quietly on the door. The major head of the political directive committee looked up as a young soldier entered. Ivan had been interrogated again and again by many others and had never backed away from his faith. Still, Major was certain he could solve this problem. Ivan, you don't look like a pure pupil to me. Why are you not learning the correct answers? He asked. Sometimes, this is Ivan. Sometimes there is a difference between the correct answers and the true ones, Ivan answered. Sometimes God does not permit me to give correct answers. So God talks to you. Who is this God of yours? As soon as he asked the question, the major regretted it. Ivan leaned forward in his chair, his face glowing with joy at the opportunity to share his faith. Sir, he is the one who created all the universe. He greatly loves man and sent his son. The major interrupted, yes, yes, I know the Christian's teaching, but what has that got to do with being a soldier? Do you disagree with the teaching of the glorious Red Army? No, sir, but you do not accept the principles of scientific atheism upon which is based our entire Soviet state and the power and the military power of the army. I can accept what I know to be untrue. Everything else I can gladly accept. Ivan, no one can prove the existence of God. Even priests and pastors agree on that. Sir, they may speak about not being able to prove God, but there is no question about knowing him. He is with me now in this room before I came here. He sent an angel to encourage me. The major stared intently at Ivan. At last he spoke wearily. I am sorry, Ivan, that you will not be reasonable. Your persistence will do nothing for you except bring discomfort. However, through the years I have found that men like you often come to their senses with a low discipline. I am ordering you to stand in the street tonight after taps are played. You will stand there until you are willing to reconsider this nonsense about talking about gods and angels. Since the temperature is likely to be 13 degrees below zero, for your sake, I hope you quickly agree to behave sensibly. Tomorrow we shall make a plan together for your political education. You are dismissed. The major expected Ivan to hesitate, to reconsider. Instead, he squared his shoulders and walked quietly to the door. Private, when the soldier turned around, the major noticed he was a little pale, so Ivan had understood the order. You will obey my instructions in summer uniform. That is all. That night, as the bugle sounded, Ivan made his way down the stairs of the barracks and into the snowy streets. He recoiled from the icy blast of the wind that burned his ears and made his eyes water. His thin summer uniform was no help in the bitter cold. He glanced at his watch. It was 10:01 p.m. In military time, it would be 2201 minutes, I believe. I'm not sure in military time, but that's my guess. Tonight, he would have a long time to pray, but for the first time since he had been in the Soviet army, prayer did not come easily. He was worried. Could he stand out here all night? What if he froze to death? Would they let him freeze to death? What if he got so cold he gave in to their demands? The what ifs flooded his mind and left in the spinning. He knew he had to think of something else. Then remembered the angel who had visited him that morning. The angel had said, "Do not be afraid. I am with you." Suddenly he realized the angel's words had been for tonight. Although he could no longer see him, Ivan knew the angel was still there with him. He began to pray fervently. Fervently means intensity. At 12:30 a.m., he was distracted from his prayers by a crunching sound of footsteps in the snow. Bundled in their overcoats, hats, and boots, three officers were slowly making their way toward him. Private, have you changed your mind yet? Are you ready to come in and get warm? No, comrade officers, as much as I want to come in and go to bed, I cannot. I will never agree to remain silent about God. Even in the dim light, Ivan could see the officers were amazed and confused. How could he stand such cold? Do you plan to stand out here all night long? I don't see how anything else is possible, and God is helping me. Ivan checked his hands. They were cold, but not too cold. He could still move his toes easily. It was a miracle. He looked at the officers and could see that even in their coats, they were already shaking from the cold. They were stamping their feet and slapped their hands, impatient to return to their heated barracks. You feel differently in another hour, the senior officer mumbled as they quickly turned around. Ivan continued to pray for all the believers he knew. He sang Christmas song carols. He prayed for every officer he knew and knew of. He cried out to God on behalf of the men in his barracks, but gradually his mind seemed to be floating somewhere else outside of his head. As much as he tried, prayer eluded him. Ivan was dozing on his feet when, at 3 a.m., the senior officer on duty woke him, and let him return to the barracks. For the next 12 nights, Ivan continued to stand in the streets outside his barracks. Miraculously, he did not freeze, nor did he beg for mercy. Ivan continued to speak about his faith to his comrades and officers. He sang about the glory of Jesus Christ in his barracks. Though this was strictly prohibited to those who threatened him, he replied, "A lark threatened with death for sings would still continue to sing. She cannot renounce her nature, neither can we Christians." Soldiers around him converted, impressed by his faith. The commanders continued to interrogate him, trying to get him to deny Jesus. They put him in refrigerated cells. They clothed him in a special rubber suit into which they pumped air until his chest was so compressed he could hardly breathe. At the age of 20, Ivan knew that the communists would kill him. On July 11th, 1972, he wrote to his parents, "You'll not see me anymore." He need he then described a vision of angels in heaven that God had sent to strengthen him for the last trial. A few days later, his body was returned to his family. It showed that he had been stabbed 6 times around the heart. He had wounds on his head and around the mouth. There were signs of beatings on the whole body. than he had been drowned. Colonel Maussan, his commander, said, Ivan died with difficulty. He fought with death, but he died as a Christian. Imagine that, soldier. He stood out there when temperatures were below zero for hours in a summer suit, summer uniform. It's like, how do I explain it? It's like wearing shorts and a short sleeve shirt in 32-degree temperature with wind blowing on you, like heavy winds and rain, hail, everything. Ivan went through a lot, but yet he still had faith in his God. Imagine his comrades, his officers, commander, everything, seen this, and they were just amazed, confused. I'm surprised, like, to be honest, he didn't even freeze. But yet, those three officers that were on duty were in their big coats and shivering. That tells you that really God is there. You just gotta seek him. But understand his faith, his belief. He believed in God that he will be there for him. He was putting refrigerator cells. I pretty much know that refrigerator cells can go really down in temperature. And sure, you can bumble. I mean, I'm not really sure how much, but I'm pretty sure it can get cold very fast. And being in a compressed suit, it's like I remember once I found out like an anaconda can squeeze up to like 200, like it's like having like a bus on your chest. Imagine that on your chest, like that's insane. But yet he died because I'm not sure if because of soldiers, his officers, or anything like that, but understood, understand. He believed in God. And that speaks volumes. Like I read it to my grandma. Like she was amazed as well as I was. And if you liked it, like I'm pretty sure you'll like it when you hear it. But I'm pretty sure this might be a part three because college, and I didn't get to go on what I really wanted to go on. So, but anyways, I'm glad how it went. And I know today's Veterans Day, and I want to thank all the soldiers that has fought hard for our nation. And if you see them, thank them. They will appreciate it more than you realize because no one tells them thank you. No one appreciates them. No one shows their anything towards them. They just see an old man. That's it with a veteran's hat. That's it. That guy or woman fought for their life for our nation. Show them respect. Listen to them. Ask them stories. Like if they're willing to share something, listen and thank them because we could be still enslaved. Well, I hope you enjoy this and I'll create part three Thursday.